Hi everybody, my name is Purti Chawla. I'm the manager here for IELTS at Leverage Live. Thank you so much for joining in.
Hey everyone, Manisha writes here. You can say IELTS expert at Leverage Live. And happy to help you all guys here. Thank you for joining in.
So today Manisha and I have brought this session for you to discuss these common yet frequent errors that we unconsciously end up making, which kills our score. So we'll talk about these mistakes that you shouldn't be making in all the 4 modules so that you're able to get to your desired band score.
So the first thing that you can see on the screen as well, it's not reading or understanding the questions properly. I believe that this is a major query also from learners. What happens is, whether it's writing or other sections, in writing the question specifically, and in other sections we can take up directions, which we eventually tend to not read properly or misunderstand it, and then eventually we end up completely ruining our answers. So for this part, it's very, very important that we read. First of all, I'll go with writing section. So writing, let's say if I talk about essays. So essays, we have 5 types of essays in IELTS writing, right? So we have to understand and identify the question type, whether it is advantages, disadvantages essay, or problem solution essay, or opinion or discussion essay. Once you see, the problem is when we try to identify or analyze the questions, we do not focus on the major keywords like action words, telling what we are supposed to do in the question, right? What the question is asking us to do. So writing section, how to address it or how to address this issue is that you definitely look forward to the keywords given so that the words tell you that what are you supposed to do in the question. One thing. If I talk about listening or reading, the directions are very important. So there, the directions definitely tell you guys that whether you need to answer it in 1 word, maybe, or not more than 2 words. If the direction says that you need to answer the question in just 1 word, and you end up writing 2 words, or maybe you use a number, then again, you happen to come up with an incorrect answer, though the word you use is correct. But if you use, let's say the answer is flag, you write a flag. Have to be 1 word, you've used 2 words. Again, wrong. So when it comes to understanding the questions properly, the only solution is that when you kickstart answering your questions, you read the directions well, number 1. Number 2, if there's a particular type of question that we're addressing, then we have to analyze it well. So these would be the basic solutions that you would have definitely to address this issue.
Which is why in writing they say that you've got to plan your answer first. So planning involves creating sort of a skeleton for yourself, understanding what sort of question, what are you expected to do, so that you answer in the same manner and you're not going off track. Which brings us to our second point as well. So going off track in the writing section. It is so common that students don't realize. They think that if they write more, whatever they know about the topic, if they pour all that in, they're going to score higher. Absolutely not. So there's this huge gap between students, what they think they need to put for the IELTS examiner to check, and what the examiners know that they're looking for. So for each writing question, especially in essay questions, they give you a very specific topic. These are all everyday social topics, but nonetheless around a theme which you are supposed to catch hold of and write about it. No matter what your vocabulary, no matter what your range of sentence structures, if you're not writing to the point, you're going to lose out on your task response score, and hence your average would come down. So which is why the first step is to identify keywords from the writing part, and of course not use them as it is. You've got to paraphrase and use synonyms while giving your answer, but you have to understand the question properly. That's like the basic first step, and we are starting with the first step because this is where students go wrong. And if you have a bad start to it, or inaccurate start, of course you're going to build up on wrong things as well. So always ensure that you know what you're supposed to do, and then accordingly structure your answer around it. All right, with this, let's move on to the next point. especially in writing, which is not explaining your main ideas. How about it, Manisha?
Exactly. So I believe the points that we've just addressed, the 2 points, if anyone who already, all the participants here, if you people have faced such nature, you can definitely share your experience with us, or you need any help specifically on certain point, you can let us know so that we can help you out right here. Okay, you can definitely let us know in the chat box so that we can help you out. Taking you forward with this, that what happens is we end up not explaining our main point. That brings us to one particular phrase or point, that is undeveloped ideas. What happens is that we have so many points to cover that whatever points we mention, we get so messed up with it in terms of organizing that we just addressed, that we don't realize that we haven't explained our point, we haven't supported it with an example so that we can justify our opinion. If you don't do that, then mentioning your point, it will make no sense, because you have just introduced the point and you haven't highlighted the key features associated to it. You haven't backed your answer with an example. And every body paragraph, wherein it comes to writing specifically again, so when you write, every body paragraph you should try to include an example in it so that you support all your ideas well, with probably facts and definitely a logical example, So that is when it comes to explaining your ideas well enough. Also, another point that should be addressed here while explaining your main points is that you don't end up repeating your points. Okay, so that is very important. That is one thing that we misunderstand while explaining our points. Which takes us forward to yet another point, which I believe now Purti will take you forward on this. Yeah.
So, writing all that you know about the topic. Now, guys, we're stressing on writing because this turns out to be an area in this exam especially where students most falter in. It turns out to be very challenging, and the examiners definitely are strict about it because they are expecting you to write the answer in a certain manner. And if you don't give them that, you will not score high. So what they want you to do is to not take an array of points and put in all your technical know-how into it, but just take 1 or 2 ideas and explain them, develop them, and that too relevantly. So that's where not repeating ideas, vocabulary would also come into the place. So you don't have to write everything that you know about the topic. So let's say they're asking you about let's say the question says computers used in education. What are the advantages and disadvantages of it? Now, our main idea is not the advantages or disadvantages of computers in general. It's actually computers used in education. So then you have a specific point to refer to. So you have students, could be of any level, and teachers. So you're going to think around and brainstorm ideas around these 2 ideas. So computers, internet, technology, and then the group of people being referred to. So if you write everything around computers, or if you write how computers are helpful to you in the workplace, it wouldn't really matter because that's not what the examiner is asking you. So you've got to first analyze the question, explain it relevantly, and not just write what you know about it. So when you take your main points, don't go beyond 2 arguments, but take those main points. So let's say I take vast amount of resources available. After listing it out, after I mention this argument, this is my main argument, one of the advantages of it, then I'll explain with the hows and whys. So in the sessions which we conduct online, we help you identify, how you're going to brainstorm ideas. What is it that you're to, include in your answer? How many points? And then in each paragraph, how you are supposed to include them, in what order, with what connections, with what grammar and range of vocabulary as well. All right, let's move on to our next argument, which is around the speaking module. And it says repeating words of the question in the speaking test. Oh my God, we do this unconsciously so many times because in India especially, we all have been trained around, like somebody asks us the question, which is your favorite subject? And we say, my favorite subject is, right? That's how we have been made to memorize and come up with answers because it works. It works for the younger students, but not really otherwise. So if you look at native speakers, or even otherwise, when you have a conversation in English, or rather any language as for that matter, you're not supposed to just address the question and go quiet. So you cannot, try telling the same thing and not adding further to it. And especially not using the same words of the question. Because remember, the examiner here is looking for the fact that whether or not you can show them a range of vocabulary or grammar. So if you end up telling the same words to them, of course, you don't have that wide range of vocabulary, In under 15 minutes, you've got to ensure that you show off a bit and you tell them that, you wouldn't have an issue at all when you go to their country and survive. And on top of that, you also have a huge bank of vocabulary that you're carrying with you. So never repeat the words of the question, always paraphrase. So, when you meet us in the sessions, we take you through, let's say, if you want to talk about your preferences, likes or dislikes, or you want to agree or disagree with the examiner, or you want to put across your opinion, what sort of sentences and phrases you're supposed to use. And I'm sure, all of you would know some or the other. It's just that you need to have that practice and somebody guiding you and keep giving you that feedback on what you're doing right and wrong. Right, Manisha?
Exactly. Right. So now this also brings me to Pratik's question, as he's asking, can it be covered in less than a month? For sure. We have our plans, we have regular batches, we have fast track batches. So fast track batches are for less than a month, which is 2 weeks. We cover the entire program in 2 weeks time, and that too with definitely appropriate practice. But yes, whatever we cover is that quick, but everything is covered there too, Pratik, for sure. So yes, we do have that plan. So yes, we'll let you know more about it. And for reading, yes, definitely we'll try to cover a bit, a few tips. Don't worry about that, for sure. Yes, as Purti said, the repetition of words we definitely need to avoid, and which is exceedingly important. Moving on to the next point for speaking, that's answering the questions in one word or a sentence, which is a blunder. What happens is part one, specifically in speaking we have 3 parts, okay? So in part one, the majority of the questions asked, okay, they are close-ended questions. Like for instance, do you like tea or coffee? Or do you like to go out in the evenings? Okay. So if such questions come up, they can be answered in one word or just a sentence. Maybe you can say yes or no, or you can say yes, I like it, or no, I don't like it. Anything. So one word or one sentence, and that is very, very natural. It comes out really that way. But you have to ensure that the examiner, when it comes to parameters, the examiner is looking forward to your fluency, grammatical structures, sentence structures, use of words, vocabulary. So when this comes in, if you answer it in just one word or a short sentence, definitely the purpose, it is not going to suffice the purpose, right? So for that, you have to add to it. And definitely your answers should have some details. For instance, if the person asks you, do you like tea or coffee? You can say, oh yes, I love coffee over tea. And I often in the evening sit with my friends over coffee and we have great chit chat or a great conversation, and that's it. You can close it that way. Have at least a complex structure or 2 sentences to add to it. Also, give the examiner that leverage that he or she can judge you well. Okay, so yes, answering the questions in one word or sentence, you should definitely avoid it. That's a mistake, right? Purti would agree to it. So, and I believe, yes.
Absolutely. And in the sessions, we take you through how you don't just stop yourself with one line or one word or 2 sentences. We take you through 7-8 ways in which you can, no matter what question you get to, answer it. So even if there's something which is not likely to happen, but if there's something that you don't know about or you haven't had an experience with before, you would still be able to manage to give an answer with the techniques that we teach you. And it again, coming back to Pratik's question, can it all be done within a month? Definitely. Of course, you and I would need to put in more number of hours for practice, but can be done, no problem at all. Okay, let's get to reading now, and I think somebody's really looking forward to this. Nazia is. Okay, so Nazia, here are your tips for reading. Let's talk about these common errors first. So trying to read every single word in the passages. Okay, so those of you who probably, since a lot of you are here doing it for the first time, so reading is where they give you 3 passages or 3 sections rather for general training, 5 passages, 40 questions, and you're supposed to answer questions based on the passage. So I'm sure all of us have done this in school, right? Unseen paragraphs, and we get answers from the question. Same thing is here as well. But of course, the catch is because it is IELTS, they have a lot of information embedded into those 1,000 words, 800, 900 words passages that you get. So you have 60 minutes to deal with all these 40 questions. So much of information is given to you that you cannot just afford to go on reading each and every word. So, in reading, there are certain skills that we have and certain types of reading. So one is reading for pleasure. So let's say I'm reading a novella or a novel or a book, some blogs, magazines. I'm taking my own time. I don't have anything much to do. And, I'm taking things at my own pace. And then there's the other kind of reading where I am involved with the text because I am interested in getting answers to my questions. I don't really care about what information they're giving me. So that's what you've got to do in the IELTS passages as well. You just need to answer your question. Exactly, Bhushan. So comprehension type, right? So it's the same thing that we get in academic passages. All we should care about is getting answers to our questions. And if we end up reading one word at a time of every sentence, we just wouldn't be able to finish it. And we lose out on marks, not because answers were wrong, but because we couldn't do it. Basically, a bit of a silly error, really. What say, Manisha?
Exactly. That's very true. There are people who tend to read the passage first, and that's a major problem. So that's where the guidance comes in. That's where we come in to help you out with a better approach that we always have for all the types of questions in reading section. For sure, we're going to help you out. This brings us to this next point that you see on your screen: leaving blank answers. In LNR, I hope you will get it, listening and reading. So what happens is, because in listening and reading, both these sections, you are scored for correct or incorrect answers. So if your answer is correct, you get a point. If not, it's okay. No negative point is there for you. So it's always suggested that if you are unable to locate an answer, though you can move ahead at that moment of time, but later when you have some time left, you can go back and maybe you can guess your answers, right? So don't leave answers blank. Don't leave, let's say, out of 40 questions in listening and in reading, if you get 38, you could do it confidently while listening to the audio, while going through the passage. Good enough. 2 are left, you can later on guess them. If in case, if you're fortunate enough and they are correct, or you fetch a mark for it, fetch a score for it. If not, even though when you leave it blank, it would have been the same for you, right? So if you're fortunate enough, this works really well for you. So do not leave blank answers right there for listening and reading that we're talking about specifically, okay? So do not go with other sections. So this one. And next, we'll go ahead on the next point, right? We have right here, not keeping a check on grammar and spelling. Oh, again. So, a major problem where this comes in is in all the sections, spelling point in listening, reading, writing, all the 3 sections, the spelling issue comes in, okay? So what happens is, at the end in writing also, there are all of us, majority of us I've seen, that we avoid proofreading. We just ignore it. It's we just shun it. It's not that important. It's fine. Whatever I've written, I'm good to go with it. I'm so confident about it. But there are minor fixes, that can be made in while proofreading whatever you've written. So this definitely helps you in listening. Also, you have some time. You can definitely, if you're going for computer-based tests, you get some time to go back and check your answers, check the spellings, look for the words that you've written. In reading too, you should look forward to the spellings. Grammar, again, writing. Your sentences, they should be structured really well. You have to take care of your grammatical errors. Now, major portion or sections, or I would say speeches, parts of speeches where we get trouble is verbs. We've seen people getting stuck with this. Preposition, minor articles, even punctuations. So this has to be taken care of, and for this also in the sessions you'll be guided on this, how to help you out with grammar, how to help you out with grammatical structures, important ones, like the mostly used ones, and mostly ones that you commit errors with. So that's also something that will help you out. Also, Purti will tell you more about our study material around this that we have, that we provide our learners, which is there with them on the dashboard once they join in, right, Purti?
Yep. So finally, losing position in the audio tracks. Now, in the listening part, what they do is to play 4 audios for us, and we are supposed to answer questions based on it. These are all objective answers, and we are not really putting anything from our side. Now, sometimes it happens that, while the audio is playing, there are 10 questions at a time in front of you. So you might get confused as to, where is the speaker? Where is the speaker? I can't really understand. What are they saying? How do I manage to get my answers? So one is, there are various things that we do to help you out that you're not doing this. So one is pre-listening, where you know what your questions are, and you should know also that everything comes to you in sequence. So the first answer comes first, then second, then third. So you're less likely to miss out on things if you just keep a track on the speaker. So highlighting keywords, identifying different discourse markers in the audio, all of that, of course, we deal with in the sessions, would help you to understand where the speaker is and not miss out on them. Okay, guys, so let's quickly take you through the kind of courses that we have for you, so that you know how we are going to help you out with. Okay, here we go. So we have these online live sessions. So no matter where in the world, away from COVID, you're able to come to us and get better at it, and just get to your score and go study abroad, start your life abroad. So we have multiple trainers here, including Manisha and I, and we take these online sessions, providing you with everything that you would require to get a dream score here. So live sessions on our own study material, so you get your own dashboard. I'll just take you through it as well. And all these sessions are recorded, so these recordings also, even after the classes are over, you can get back to them. And this mentor, this guide to help you with each and every step of your way to practice and learn the strategies and get better at English in all the 4 areas of it. So we have 2 kinds of courses, regular and fast track. Regular meaning we'll take you through all the 4 modules in a month's time. And those of you who are planning to take it soon, we have the fast track courses. So we have the morning and the evening time for it. And then we have fast track courses. So those of you planning for, let's say, May or July intake as well, you can get to it. So any takers for Australia should go for this rather. So everything will be covered within 2 weeks of time. Can I prove some slides? Yes, I'll take you through the dashboard and everything, but hey, you are getting us, so why do you need the slides? Join the course, everything in detail with us. Okay, let me take you through the dashboard. So this is the first screen that you'd get to. You'd log in with the credentials that we provide to you. And for now, in case you want to just directly enroll for the session, so when you go to the dashboard, we have been sharing the links here with you, and go to IELTS. There are these regular and fast track courses that we have just told you about. And since you are here today, we are providing 40% off on these courses. So if you go to view course, the first thing you're going to see is the first dialog box which has appeared, which is the normal price for it. And when you put in the discount code, you will get a discounted price. If you come with more than 1 person, further discount as well. So you can speak to us as well when the new module is beginning and all of that. I did show you the phone numbers. Okay, everybody. So thank you for joining in today. I hope to see many of you in the sessions. I know how proud we are of our students who have been able to crack and get 8+ as well. So hoping to help you guys out with the same too.
Great. Thank you so much for joining in, guys. Have a great weekend ahead.